one of two people get the Fulbright scholarship, if I'm not mistaken, and you're one of them. Huge celebration. And they give you $200 and a winter coat. And they say, good luck in America, buddy. Here you are, coming out of the ashes, coming out of a civil war, coming out of unspeakable things. And you just have $200 and a jacket. And they say, okay, good luck in America. You've never been to America. You only know a very little bit about American culture, obviously, right? I do have to say before we get to the next part, though, that I deeply, deeply hate you. And do you want to know why? Because in the book, you say, I closed my eyes on the airplane and I woke up and we were on the ground. You slept through the entire flight multiple times. I have never been able to sleep more than 5 minutes on an airplane. I can't tell you how much I wish I had your superpower. You say, I closed my eyes, I woke up and we were there. I'm like, oh my God, this man is Superman. So I'm deeply jealous.
I don't know why it happened, but the funny story is that it was the first time in my life to take a plane. Maybe that's the reason why I slept a long way. Yeah.
Like, oh, we're here. And everybody else is just like, oh. And you're like, I feel so refreshed. But needless to say, to say that you're out of your element, I mean, most people can't even imagine being in the United States, foreign country, $200. And then I think the next part, which wasn't even meant to be funny, was clearly, it was the funniest part to me because you land in the airport, nobody's waiting for you with the sign. You don't even know where you're supposed to go. Your school is very far away. And I thought this part was hilarious. You get a cab driver, and this is a positive point for the United States because somebody took pity on you and they said, okay, I've got to help this guy out. They took you to a cab and they helped you get where you're going. So you happen to have this cab driver who is Somalian, and he's telling you about the Black experience of being an African who has moved into the United States. And I thought the very funniest part of this whole thing was that he teaches you all of these things in a very short period about what it's like to be Black in the United States, but also he takes the $200 from you.
Yeah, of course.
You
You
took
had
all
to
of
take
it.
it to
So you get out of the cab and you have zero money. I thought, if
yeah.
that's not an introduction to America, I don't know what is. He's like, man, I feel for you, but give me your money, dude.
I mean, he was doing his job. It was a
Sure.
business.
Of
It's
course. Of
not
course.
a family business. I was not is a family member,
It's just very
something like
funny.
that. Yeah, so I think you kind of I wouldn't say that he had kind of a pity on me. It was mostly compassion, probably he had on me. And then that experience was my first introduction to the US. It really, when I say first introduction to the US, to the soul of the US, okay? Because back home, I learned a lot about the US even before coming to America. But some of the things that you talked to me during that drive, that journey or short journey, were a little bit alarming and of course encouraging as well. Alarming because he was here for years. He knows how the American uh, society works for African nationals like me at that time who came to America to look for the piece of a pie, okay, of the American dream, what the American dream looked like for African nationals that he was describing to me, and what the American society was expecting or kind of describing, depicting, the American dream for people like me at that time. And then he said that the American dream was not something available to people like me. So it was alarming. And then later on, you said that the American dream was possible, and as long as you keep your eyes on the prize, as long as you I don't know if I have to use this term, hustle, as long as you have
Yeah.
the an aggressive approach, a competitive approach in life, you can still make it. You can still live it. Uh, So that kind of experience, that kind of discussion that I had with him um, was a little bit disturbing in some way, but also inspiring in another way.
That's basically America in a nutshell. Disturbing in some way, but also inspiring in another way. That's America. It's good and it's horrible at the same time. It's everything.
Yeah.
But you mentioned a few times that again, a lot of these programs, because the Fulbright Scholarship, Senator Fulbright, it's a brilliant idea of trying to increase humanity by having these international experiences and trying to help the interconnectedness of it all. So I wholeheartedly agree with the mission of the Fulbright program. I think it is a beautiful mission. But at the same time, you were in a country with no money and you had a very small stipend and you didn't know when the stipend was going to come. You had months when you had no money at all. So it's not like you were taken care of via this program in the sense that you had all the money in the world and that you were comfortable. You still had to fight pretty hard to get your education even once you were here. And of course, you had the visa thing, which is only as good as long as you're studying. So did the challenges continue for you once you began the American part of your life?
Yes, of course. Yeah, definitely. First of all, I did not know anyone in America. It was, and first when I came, I landed in Athens. So it was tough, and it was in winter. So the first time for me to live in winter time. And then I came from a collectivistic society, meaning that you live with the people. You are in a group. You don't live by yourself. You are linked to with the other people. But now I was living in a very individualistic society. So you have to care for yourself and about yourself. So at that time, I could not comprehend it, because sometimes even I could meet some people on campus and I could, greet them. They could not reply. So which was a very, cultural shock for me. So it was that, but also food, okay, as well. Friends, it was quite tough to make friends. And of course, my studies as well. All of my education and was in French, and then now I had to study in English, and English was not my first language, so I had to work more than I was expected to work, and I took a lot of pronunciation classes, because at that time, my pronunciation was not good, and my accent was not good as well. It was really really tough, but rewarding in many respects. That I
Mm.
can say, yeah, but it's not. And I even mentioned that in my book, and I think I mentioned that coming to America was not the end of the struggle. It was not the end of adversity. It was probably the beginning of the struggle and adversity.